Hello everybody, welcome to Deluxe Collectibles, and today I'm going to be discussing a cancelled LEGO Ninjago Seabound set, and this information is coming from an interview conducted by Tips and Bricks, which is an Instagram page that you can find linked down below at the top of the description of the video. They conducted this interview through the LEGO Ambassador Network, as they are recognized LEGO fan media, so be sure to go check them out. They have some really great information on their page, and specifically some other things from the interview as well that I'll probably wind up touching on in future videos to bring you some of that info, but be sure to go check them out. And the LEGO designer that they interviewed for this specifically was Neek. I'll be sure to leave his name in the actual video here so you can fully see it, and he is a fantastic LEGO designer, really well known for the LEGO Voltron set and also the LEGO Zane's Titan Mech as well, so some really fantastic ones for sure. And I wanted to discuss a specific set here that they asked about in the actual interview, so I'll go over the question that they asked, and then I'll specifically go over the response as well, and then we can kind of talk about my theories, because I feel like some things from the set could actually tie into the actual show as well, and how that wound up going. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Alright, so the question that was asked is, are there any scrapped concepts for sets that you can talk about, and any that got scrapped for past seasons but used in later ones? And the answer that was given is, so often we create a play feature or function first, then we'll add a skin to fit the season, so we have lots of cabinets full of function concepts, and we have tons of scrap models, as for most sets there's 6 or 7 different directions, and then we pick one to take forward. And the best example I can give you is Lloyd's Hydromech from the most recent season, and it started off as Kai's Crab Mech that was $40, but we were told to go for a cheaper price point, so we had to scale it down, and we decided to make it Lloyd's instead. So there's an unreleased concept for that set which shares a lot of cues with Lloyd's, but overall its form is very different. So this question definitely ended up bringing up something very interesting, of course, with the cancelled Kai's Crab Mech, which just sounds super interesting. I did do a mock-up design of it, but of course, it was kind of just switching up things with the current Lloyd's Hydromech. They do, of course, mention in the actual question that it was quite different in its actual form, so I'm sure it looked a little bit larger, of course, as the price point was more at being $40 instead of the standard $20 that this retailed for in the US, but it's definitely really interesting as well, specifically because of course Kai didn't wind up being super involved in the Seabound season. He took on a bit of a different role and didn't actually enter into the ocean with the other ninjas, so that's what I found to be the most interesting about this, was that it might have actually influenced the show to make him a bigger part of it, maybe switching him out for what Lloyd's role wound up being in the season. Of course, with recent Ninjago, I think Lloyd has definitely been propelled into more of a main position, so even when he's not the main ninja, he's been pretty heavily involved in most of the plot lines, so maybe this could have gotten Kai even more involved with it as well. And of course, it would have been quite odd as well if he didn't get to ride in the vehicle, because of course, even though in the Seabound season we do see that of course Nia and Maya wind up riding in these Hydromechs as well, but Lloyd winds up being in one also at a point, so maybe we would have got to have seen Kai go underwater, and maybe that would explain as well why we wound up getting Kai and Cole as well in actual scuba suits, because of course those are technically non-canon suits, even though I'm sure within the actual Ninjago universe, this being just headcanon of my own, but I'm sure that they do have those scuba suits somewhere. I bet Pixel just made the suits for everybody probably, and then it just wound up being that they didn't take the opportunity to wind up wearing those suits within the actual season, but maybe there could have potentially been that wind up happening, and maybe we could have seen a switch out with some of the other ninja being on the surface and then some of the other ones going into the ocean. So I think that would have been quite interesting to wind up seeing. I don't know how much it would have wound up changing the actual story, but I think that it still would have just been cool visually, and also just for their own character development as well, if anything specific were to happen to them in the actual season. But it's definitely super interesting to kind of just explore that, and how do the sets influence the actual show, and it seems like this could have potentially done that, and I would have really loved to have seen this build. I think it would have been really cool. I mean, a Kai's crab mech sounds pretty awesome, and I think that I can almost kind of see maybe some of the points of that in the actual hydro mech from Lloyd, of course, with like the little like clamps that he has at the end, or like claspers, basically like a crab's claws, really. So you can kind of see some of that reminiscent in that, but of course it's just speculation because we don't actually see a visual for what this mech would have looked like if it had been Kai's. But I definitely think that would have been cool to see. But I wanted to bring this up in this video. It's a pretty short one, but I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on if we had gotten Kai's crab mech. Would you have enjoyed that more than you think you would have with Lloyd's hydro mech? I think the hydro mech's a great build on its own, and it's understandable why they would have wanted a cheaper build as well for this wave, so that you have the standard easily available $25 or $20 set depending on where you're at. So I think that was definitely the smart move in the end, but definitely cool to hear about a concept like this. And if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Also subscribe as well if you would like to check out some of my other content. That would be highly appreciated. So thank you so much. I will see you all next time, and always remember, keep on collecting.